Welcome to the Scholar Online YouTube channel, the channel that is all about learning, okay? Getting through the admin stuff first, remember to like this video, remember to subscribe, remember to turn on notifications, smash that notifications button so that you'll be notified every time we release a new video on this channel. Today's video is going to be everything Streamlit and everything chatbot. We are going to use Streamlit to write a chatbot application in under 20 minutes, okay? It's going to be a chatbot application that has multiple personalities. Let me just demonstrate to you what we're going to build here today. And you do not need to know any HTML, you do not need to know any CSS, you do not need to know any front-end coding. We are not going to do any of that in this video today. We're just going to build a chatbot, and you can see over here it's working. So let me demonstrate to you. I'm going to ask the chatbot the exact same question. All right, what is rain? And I'm going to ask it to the first chatbot that we have. This is the first personality of our chatbot that we have described, and it's going to go and answer us the question, what is rain? And you can see this chatbot has a bit of a vibe to it. It loves emojis, it talks nicely to you. And I'm going to now change the chatbot. I've got another one called Tyrion Lannister, and I'm going to ask it the exact same question, and you'll see that this one has almost a different personality. It's going to answer it in a different way, right? So yes, did you not understand my previous answer? Let me break it down for you again, Rain. So this has got another personality, and we've coded all these different personalities using prompt engineering in the back, prompting the chatbot to answer differently. And we've built this, and you can select and think about a fun project that you can use to demonstrate in your portfolio your understanding of chatbots by building maybe 5 or 6 different chatbots that all answer the same question in a different way based on the prompt engineering personality that you've put into the chatbot. So that's what we're going to do today, and we're going to do all of this in under 20 minutes. So stay tuned and let us time this video and get started, and let's get learning. So of course, I'm going to turn on the timer so that we can see exactly how long it took us to actually create this multi-personality chatbot using a Python Streamlit library. Okay, so this is very, very simple. Anybody can follow along with this tutorial and create their own chatbot using OpenAI and Streamlit. Okay. Couple of prerequisites. What you need is obviously a working environment, somewhere you can build your application. You can, this is up to you. You can do this even in your own computer. You don't have to follow along with my setup. Now, to get started, you obviously need a virtual environment. That's the very first thing you need before you can build anything. So to get that done, let us make a directory and call this directory stream. Let's just call it stream so that we don't call it the same name. And let us go into this directory, and we have our cd into that directory. If we list this directory, you'll see it's a clear directory. There's nothing in there. We're going to start completely from scratch. The first thing we're going to do is create a virtual environment. So we're going to say virtual env stream env. All right, and this only works if you've already pre-installed virtual environment. If you have not pre-installed virtual environment, go and have a look at our documentation, Scholar Online documentation. As part of installing the Django setup, we take you through the process of installing and getting your virtual environment ready. So you can follow these steps over here, and you'll be able to get your virtual environment. We have ours running ready. We're going to build it and create it. And if you now list here, you'll see there's now this env. It's just a folder that has been created. We're going to say source our env bin activate, and just like that, we have our virtual environment activated. You will see it's activated with that, right? So let's clear this, and we'll see now we have stream env, and we have, if we list, that is a stream env that is in there. Okay, so we've activated our virtual environment. Let us get started. Okay, so I'm going to keep this open. I'll put it in the description below. The first thing that we need is to install Streamlit. What is Streamlit? Streamlit is a library that assists you to build web applications very, very quickly. right? It handles a lot of the stuff that you would normally have to handle in the background, HTML, creating, styling, CSS. It handles all of that for you, and you basically just tell it to write something and it goes straight ahead and does that. I'm not going to spend too much time explaining this. I will link this documentation for you to go read it. Just understand this is the simplest way to build a website out of Python is using Streamlit. So we're going to just go and install it, and we're going to say pip install Streamlit. And while it's doing that, we are going to also install our OpenAI. This is the library that allows us to be able to talk to the OpenAI API, which we are going to be using as the background language model for our chatbot. Okay, so let's install that. This is going to take a while, and while that is busy installing, before we even install OpenAI, let me show you what else you need. You also need to get an OpenAI API key. All right, so to do that, go to platform.openai.com if you don't have one API key yet, and you go there where it says view API keys. You click there and you say create a new secret key. Okay, just keep in mind when you create a new secret key, it's going to be displayed to you once. Make sure you copy and save it in a safe place, and make sure you do not include it inside of the actual file that you're working with. I'm going to do that, but it's bad practice. You shouldn't do that. I'm doing that so that you can be able to follow along with the video. So that's done. Let's install OpenAI, but you should rather keep it in a in a secrets file or somewhere where it's not going to be directly with your code, because you do not want to expose your API key and for other people to know what it is. And it only gets displayed once, and I've already displayed mine. It's this one here. I can't actually see it again, so I've saved it somewhere else, and at the end of this tutorial I will delete it. That is why I'll be showing you the key in the video so that you can understand exactly what is happening in the background. Okay, so OpenAI has finished installing. Let me just check that. Yes, that's what I just finished installing now. Now we've got both of these things done, all right? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to then go and, let's see, where are we in my documentation? There we go. All right, so I'm going to create a file, and in this file, I'm going to, let's just create a basic we're going to create a basic Streamlit chatbot application, right? So we are going to just copy this. I need to type it here so that I can see what I'm typing, even though I'm not going to run this file here. I just need to see what I'm typing. And later on, I will copy it into my virtual environment, okay? So let me get my API key there. I know I'm displaying it, but don't worry, I will delete it as soon as I'm done with this video. So let's put in our OpenAPI key. So this is what we need to at least get started. We import OpenAI, we import Streamlit, and then we get our API key so we can get started, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this code over here that I've put in there. Right? And I'm just going to paste it here. If you're not familiar with Streamlit, I will explain a lot of the basics here, but this is a simple chatbot application. You can see it's just a few lines of code. If I had to build this with CSS and HTML, it would take me at least 2 hours, like my 2-hour-long videos, all right? But I'm going to build this with Streamlit, and all I need to do is to define the title, and this will appear at the top of the website. Then if I want to type anything in there, I can type it there. So let's say I want to call my chatbot Karabo. I'm a professor from Harvard. I know many things. You can ask away. So let's give it an interesting personality. So let's say let's be fun. Let's say my name is Karabo and I am a sarcastic chatbot. All right, and the system message, I will also rewrite it and say you are a very sarcastic chatbot. You do not like answering stupid questions, but offer responses if the question sounds, smart. Let's make our first personality a sarcastic one. So this is this normal system message that goes into giving the chatbot its personality. This is part of prompt engineering. So when you do prompt engineering, you always want to give your chatbot some background information of how it can behave. You will see the chatbots we're going to create are going to behave completely different based on the system message that we give it. And I want you guys to have fun with system messages and see what kind of a chatbot you can generate playing around with that system prompt, okay? So now that we've done that, we have defined this system message. What we do after this part here just describes the title and the message that will appear at the top of the website. Here we describe a system message. You can see there's an if statement. An if statement says it's checking for something, and if it doesn't find it, it creates it. All right. So it asks if messages not in st.session state. Now, what is this session state? I'm going to be just very, very quick. Session state is a variable within Streamlit that you can use to store information that are going to be stored in the session. So if you understand things like the session cookies and session sort of like objects, you can store information in there that you can refer to later. So for something like a conversation like this, you want to be able to remember what you typed and what the chatbot responded, because you want to keep the conversation going. We're going to store that in a session state object that we're going to call messages. So this is a session state, and then we create an object in there that we call messages, and this is now a list of all the messages that we're going to be building as we go along. Of course, this is not going to have any sort of like, it won't remember anything post you refreshing the page, but at least while somebody is still on the page, they'll be able to remember what was said previously. If you want to now keep the messages beyond someone, refreshing the page, then you need to go into, maybe they're saving the stuff in the database and creating profiles so that you know who's who and all of that in your application. But not to overcomplicate things and go too long. Let me not over explain all of this. Let's move on. Once we've explained that, then we're going to start the chat input. The chat input is actually a Streamlit, a functionality, and it's going to create us that chatbot, which we can then define the OpenAI key, and then we can enter the prompt message, and then we can write whatever it is that you have entered, and then we do the chat completion, and then we get the response from OpenAI. We append the response into the chatbot, and then we also we save it into the system state again, so that the next time the OpenAI will remember what it said previously, and then after that we say acceptance. So how many lines of code was that? Very, very simple. Just like that, we are going to create our very first OpenAI chatbot with Streamlit with just a few lines of code, right? So let's test this out. I'm going to create an app. I'm going to create a file I'm going to call nanoapp.py, right? And in this file, I'm just going to paste all of this, right? Right. After we've pasted all of this, we're just going to save it. There you go. Streamlit run app.py. There you go. Now, what happens is it runs it on because I'm running on a virtual environment. This is my IP address, and then this is the port that is going to run on. If you followed my tutorials in creating a virtual environment, just make sure port 8501 is open, right? So I've already opened port 8501. If you haven't opened it, just follow the commands with sudo ufw and the firewall commands to open that port. So if we then go and click on the website that it's showing there you go. We've got our chatbot. This Scholar Online chatbot is what we have here as the title, what we've described as the title. All right. And then what we have at the bottom here is what we have typed. All right, my name is Karabo. I'm a sarcastic chatbot. All right, you could add more things, and this works with markdown formatting. So you could add links. You could, it's up to you how you wanna maybe describe what your chatbot is doing. I'm gonna leave that up to you, and then we can start talking. So let's ask it our usual question. What is the price of Bitcoin? What is the price of Bitcoin? You can see at the top there while you're running your application, it does that. And the ever reliable, what is the price of Bitcoin question? A classic. Let's see. Shall we consult my crystal ball and check imaginary ticker tape just to give you an up-to-date? Okay. So you can see it's picking up that sarcastic personality that we've described in our system message. So we are going to use the system message to give our chatbot, different personalities and just play around with it. And this is this is really cool. And what I like about Streamlit, and I haven't worked a lot with it in the past, you'll see this is probably my first Streamlit tutorial on my channel. It's just so simple. It was really created by data scientists to help them visualize a lot of what they were doing. They didn't want to spend a lot of time trying to understand front-end development. They just wanted to be able to display tables, graphs, whatever, just have a chatbot. And I love that they have this ability you can just build a chatbot with these few lines of code, and you don't have to go into trying to understand how would I position this in an HTML, CSS sort of arrangement, right? Now, what we're going to do is that we're going to delete this, right? And I want to be able to have multiple chatbots. So I'm going to replicate this, all right? And I'm going to replicate this where I input, certain information and do it in functions so that we can have what we call a, sort of like a routing and multiple pages within this application. So we're going to delete that, and let's go down in our notes. Let's go down in our notes because I have written all of this down for you, okay? So what we need is this, all right? So I'm going to paste this after deleting all of that. I'm going to paste, actually, let me leave it. Let me not delete it yet because I'm going to need it, all right? And then let's paste that there, all right? So you'll see here we created an object called pages. And this object has got the two different pages, right? We haven't built these yet. We're still going to build them. And within these two different pages, we'll have a navigation bar that helps us select one page or the other, which means we're going to put this function we're going to put all of this code within a function. So the function you'll see here is called page one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take all of this, cut it out, and create a new function that I'm going to call page one, all right? And then within this function, I'm going to paste it. You understand? Then suddenly this function is what we're defining there, which means we need another one called page two, right? Then I'm going to say page two, right? And then I'm going to paste this. Currently, it's exactly the same content, but this is where we're going to be able to change and do different things, all right? And of course, I'm replicating code, which is bad practice again. Ideally, what you would actually want to do is actually, put in variables in there and actually just write this function once and then just change either this prompt or the message that gets displayed and a lot of other things, all right? So we'll get to that later. For now, let's just do this the long way so that you can at least see what I'm doing. So you can see now my page one and my page two have been defined, all right? And I've already written some of these down here because I don't want to rewrite a lot of these. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to paste this here again. It's exactly the same thing. I've just rewritten the names differently because I want to give my pages names. Okay, so the first page is going to be Cersei and the second page is going to be Tyrion. Okay, then I'm going to come and I'm going to copy what's in here, and then I'll just explain to you how I've defined Cersei and Tyrion in their personalities, and then you'll just see what I've done. But it's exactly the same thing. I've just rewritten this, and I don't want to waste your time to rewrite it in front of you, but you'll see what it is. So in page one, I've said, okay, so page one is the one that is gonna be called Cersei, and on page one I've said, okay, Cersei, the introductory message says, hey, my name is Cersei, I know many things, ask me anything you like, but please don't ask me stupid questions. And then over here it says, you are a sarcastic assistant called Cersei Lannister. So we are working with the same sarcastic chatbot. You love to use emojis and don't always understand why people love asking stupid questions. All right. So that's the personality we've given Cersei, our first chatbot. And our second one, we've called it Tyrion. Okay. And Tyrion, we're going to make it a little bit complicated, right? So we're going to say, okay, you are Tyrion. I know many things, of course. Ask away and let me help you. However, keep in mind that due to my vast knowledge, You might need a simpler, actually, let's not put that in there. Let's just leave it. Let's just define the system message here. You are a well, how did you define it here? You are you are professor overcomplicators. Okay. Professor overcomplicators has spent many decades in deep academia, earning accolades and publishing countless papers. However, the professor is notorious for explaining concepts in a perplexing, intricate, and voice. So we need to tell this is the chatbot. You are Professor overcomplicators, personal assistant. Okay. You have spent. We need to make sure the chatbot understands this, decades into academia, earning accolades and publishing countless paper. Okay, you are notorious for explaining concepts in a perplexing, intricate, and verbose manner, often confusing students more than enlightening them. Responses should be highly detailed, occasionally tangential, and always exude an aura of intellectual complexity. Think of the kind of professor who would begin explaining a simple concept and then end up referencing obscure theories. So you want to create a complicated chatbot where even when you ask it the most simplest of questions, it's going to take the longest time to answer you and complicate the answer where you're going to just end up being more confused than you were before you get started. And for now, I've created 2 chatbots for you. It's up to you. You can add more personas if you like. Okay, so you can create another one, a third one, a fourth one. And later on, we're going to go through maybe how to feed this information so that you only have to write this function once. And then you can, for example, you can feed in the information, right? So let's save this and let's come up here. Let's stop this, what's currently running. Let's clear it. Let's just make sure we copy all of this information, our new chatbots. Let's remove the current file. Let's create a new one. Let's paste all of that. Let's close it. Let's save it. And let's run it. Okay, Streamlit run app.py. And let us then go into our app. You'll see there's a connection error, but all you need to do is to refresh this right now. And there you go. Suddenly you've got a navigation bar. That is what this code is doing at the bottom here. It's creating a navigation bar, and in that navigation bar is creating a select chatbot. So it's creating a it's asking select a chatbot. So it's a drop down menu, and then it lists all these pages, which are the pages we've created there. Right. So if you click over there, you'll see Cersei and Tyrion. Okay, so let's start with Cersei and let's ask these chatbots the exact same question. All right, let's go back to our what is Bitcoin question. And we're going to ask Cersei Lannister what is Bitcoin, and see the response we get from oh dear user, you have been living under a rock. So this is the sarcastic personality. Bitcoin is a magical internet money that people go to absolute bonkers for. It's a cryptocurrency, meaning it's a digital form of currency that operates independent central bank, basically. And Cersei likes to use emojis. We put that in the persona so you can see the responses include emojis, and very, very cleverly, using the emoji to be sarcastic and continue with her persona, so this is really cool. Let's pick the second one. Let's pick Tyrion and ask Tyrion the exact same question, right? What is Bitcoin? And you'll see at the top there while it's running, it's showing the user that it's running. Later on, maybe I'll show you how to there you go. Seriously, you couldn't just read my previous response. Fine, I'll humor you. Bitcoin is a decentralized currency. Identified person group of Satoshi Nakamoto is based on a clinical blockchain, which is like a fancy digital ledger that helps people can use Bitcoin to buy stuff online, invest in it, simply hold. Or just remember, it's a volatile and speculative asset, so don't bet your entire kingdom on it. All right. What is rain? Okay. What is rain? Something simple. Let's see if it's going to, take that Um, there you go. My sweet summer child, are you truly asking me what rain is? Well, brace yourself. This is mind-boggling revelation. Rain is water falling from the sky. I know it's groundbreaking stuff, right? It's nature way of drenching us, making. So this personality is different, right? And just I'd like you to just have fun and try and create as many personas as you can think of. I am just looking at my time now, and we are at 23 minutes, and it took me 23 minutes. And honestly, it's because I spent quite a bit of time explaining. So I'm going to write on this video in under 20 minutes, create multi-personality chatbot using Streamlit in under 20 minutes, and you've seen us do it right here. So remember to like this video, subscribe, and keep keep following us so that you can learn every time we release a new video. And with that, I'm signing out.